Good afternoon, Paul. It's Friday, the 9th of December. Here's the heads up brief for today.
Excellent. Go ahead. Just be aware I'm in Bangkok traffic, so I may be a little bit distracted at times, managing the madness that is the traffic here. Go ahead, Uday. Thank you.
Sure, Paul. In Papua New Guinea, Paul, the opposition is demanding that a state of emergency be declared in Pella province after the violence in Hides at the start of the month. It criticized Prime Minister James Marape for hosting large oil and gas expos while being unable to ensure security for these projects.
Well, the height of the madness is probably amplified and exemplified in Hides. Unfortunately, PNG just won't allocate money to security. It won't, or to get proper governance, and it dresses everything up to fools to invest in their country. It disrespects investors. And then you've got the whole layer of tribalism, and Highland Melanesian tribalism is a very specific and unpredictable security risk. And most companies aren't geared up for it, and they rely on the police to provide their security, and it can't be guaranteed to provide security for normal societal needs, yet alone for that of the resource sector. Yet everyone thinks that's their plan A and sit around twiddling thumbs and talking about how plan Bs aren't workable. So keep a real close eye on this. If the pressure's building, it's a pressure cooker and it's building.
Yep, sure, Paul. The Indonesian and Papua New Guinea police also signed a memorandum of understanding for tackling transnational crimes along the border. So it'll be interesting to see whether this has an effect on the West Papua National Liberation Army's movements across the border.
Well, look, the reality is PNG's having struggles dealing with security on every street. How it's going to deal with a porous, mountainous border like PNG Indonesian border and the complexities various factions and resources and government entities bring there, combined with the TP and PB, which are really a very small, not very credible threat compared to the million-odd troops at the disposal of the Indonesian army. It's all a bit farcical. It's all a bit for show. So I think we do know the answer. But it's interesting to hear that they've at least signed an MOU to portray increasing the security along the border.
Yeah. Well, in China, the government is continuing to relax COVID-19 restrictions and optimize responses. It does seem that, there is a policy of appeasement.
Well, this is all against the bigger geopolitical issue, America and China trying to hopefully or possibly avoid, at least imminently, an invasion of Taiwan, them trying to legitimize themselves for power, them trying to stay aligned to the West in terms of benefiting from the consumerism, but at the same token, they don't want to be bullied by the West to help the West achieve their aims. So I think there's a lot more at play here. But thank you for raising that to my attention, and I hope that they do continue to show a little bit of moderation and liberalisation that would hold them well as they grow into one of the world's competing superpowers. Thank you, Uday.
Sure. In Malaysia, the Anti-Corruption Commission is investigating the misappropriation of funds by the former Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin's government over the COVID pandemic. Apparently, there's been a misappropriation of over $100 billion US. Muhyiddin Yassin was the previous prime minister who's right now leading the opposition against Anwar Ibrahim.
Well, it's good to form then, isn't it? If it's not the first prime minister or ex-prime minister to be on charges of massive misappropriation. So at least the standards of the prime ministership is being upheld, and hopefully with the change of government, there may be a change in thought of what is appropriate and what isn't. Unfortunately, Malaysians accept corruption amongst their political elite, but it's got so obscene even for the Malaysians. We've seen a change of government, but will we see a change of values by the new PM and his lads, which is traditionally how it unfolds when they get the opportunity to eat. So, yes, thank you for the update.
Well, in Thailand, the Boomjatai party leader said that he would not be in an arrangement in which he could only partially serve as the prime minister. Now, this comes in response to Prime Minister Prayut saying that he will run as a candidate in the next elections, and he will find a successor to finish his term. So there have been rumors that Prayut may be considering Anutin, who is the Bumjatai party leader and the deputy prime minister at the moment.
Okay, thank you. That's an interesting twist. Thanks very much.
In Thailand's north, in Chiang Mai, 2 days ago, Paul, authorities killed 15 drug smugglers near the Myanmar border. While this is the Golden Triangle area, the casualty toll is high.
I just missed it, cut out there for a second at my end. What was the actual incident? What was the actual incident that occurred?
So authorities came upon drug smugglers and they killed 15 of them after gunfights.
Okay, interesting. That's a substantial hit. Was it right in suburban Chiang Mai? I'm guessing not. Could you get me the exact location, map it out for me, and send it?
Sure, Paul.
That's really, I need to analyse that one myself. Okay.
Sure, Paul. Will do. Moving to South Asia, there's expected violence in Dhaka, Bangladesh tomorrow due to a major opposition protest plan. We've talked about this issue a little bit before, Paul.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
In India, the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party won the Gujarat state elections in a landslide victory. The results were announced yesterday. Meanwhile, the opposition Indian National Congress Party won the Himachal Pradesh state elections, which were also announced yesterday. So everyone's pretty much getting ready for the 2024 elections at this point now, Paul.
Okay, interesting. We'll have to do a full assessment on that shortly. Thank you.
Yeah. While in Pakistan, the federal cabinet has approved the restoration of 11 revoked petroleum exploration licenses, but they haven't released details of where these licenses were. So we'll wait on that and give you the details when we get that.
I'd also like to see the terms that they're doing that on.
Yes.
How they're structuring the contracts. Is it a contract of work? Is it a production sharing? Like to see the arrangements there because that will be critical both for the potential for investors, but also for the probability of it actually succeeding.
Sure. And just to update you regarding Nepal, the politicking is still going on in the ruling coalition, to form and announce a new government. So we'll get details of you when it's formalized. It's not yet.
Okay, thank you.
Well, in the Europe, Middle East, and Africa, the Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson said that the United States plans to prolong the conflict in Ukraine until at least 2025. She cited the fact that the U.S. signed a 3-year, $1.2 billion contract with Raytheon, a weapons company, to supply Ukraine with air defense system. Also, the U.S. administration has requested $37 billion in 2023 for additional assistance to Ukraine.
Yeah, okay. It's very interesting. I'll just leave that one alone for now.
All right, Paul. That's the brief for today. Anything from you?
No, great brief as always, Uday. Thank you. Thanks for the heads up. Cheers.
Thanks, Paul.